Good morning. Today is Wednesday, November 5th. Welcome into NBA Betting with Fiddle. We have an 11-game NBA card to go over. A lot of things to get down on the show today. But before we get started, I want to share two things. One is that every Sunday night, Tuesday night, and Thursday night. So the show is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But the night before each one, we send out a newsletter at the free fiddlespicks.substack.com. So go check out fiddlespicks.substack.com. It is a completely free newsletter. On Sunday night, every week is going to be a schedule quirks upcoming in the NBA. Our guy Ian looks at the schedule ahead. Who's got a hard schedule? Who's got an easy schedule? Which East Coast team is headed on a West Coast road trip with 3 games in 4 days and a back-to-back against contenders? Who's got home rest advantages? Who's got a weak schedule? We look at all of those things and have you prepared, because if you know some of these spots, a schedule loss is a real thing in the NBA. It is hard over the course of an 82-game season to get up for every game and to play them as hard as they are. And these games are fast, and the tempo and the pace is increasing every year. So automatically, there are just going to be nights where the team doesn't bring it. And the market often finds those spots first. So if you're aware of doozies or easy spots in the NBA schedule, then you can get down on an early line in some of those games, gain CLV, have the market agree with you, and have a good ticket. The second thing is every Tuesday night. So today is the Wednesday show. Every Tuesday night, we are going to be sending out 2 or 3 actionable NBA props at the time of send. So it's really important to make that newsletter informative and actionable. So there's always going to be things when we go over the show where we say this was played in a WHOP group, or we sent this out, or played this last night. It's currently at this number. You might want to play it. You might not. Here's what we could still play today on Tuesday night. So when you wake up Wednesday morning, or you see it late Tuesday night, I finished writing that at like 4 in the morning. So we call it a Wednesday morning newsletter. But there are actionable props that are priced at that very second and are worth getting down on it. And then Thursday is going to be the same thing, actionable sides and totals. So Sunday schedule quirks, Tuesday props, Thursday sides and totals. We are streamlining the newsletter this season so you know what is coming. It can be informative, reliable, and actionable. So go check out fiddlespicks.substack.com, completely free to sign up. And you will see the props that were sent out last night, or the schedule quirks that was sent out on Sunday night. The second thing that I want to say is a quick good luck, or we're rooting for Ian right now. He is in the Philippines, and they're dealing with some horrible storms. So we don't have Ian in the back of house today because he is without power. And so we hope everything goes well. So shout out to our guy Ian, and thank you to Drew. Obviously, Drew is on the show with me, more front-facing once a week. He's going to be here on Friday because of the NBA Cup. He's often here midweek on Wednesday, but because we have the NBA Cup games on Friday, some more stuff to talk about. There's more group division markets. There's MVP markets. There's more handicapping going on about record schedule coming up, point differential, and all those tiebreakers. So it's really nice to have Drew on NBA Cup Friday, but Drew is actually taking over for Ian back of house today. So thank you to Drew. This is a 3-man weave here at NBA Betting with Fiddle, or The Advantage. And so teamwork makes the dream work. And so thank you to Drew, and good luck to Ian. We had Nate in the comments saying, got my 4-year-old dancing while brushing her teeth to some Get Down on It. Now, this is awesome. I love it. It's a great song, obviously. And you got to teach her to be able to read the odds screen by the time she's like 8 or 9 years old. So she's waking up and recognizing sharp moves on the screen. Steven is saying, morning, I grabbed Jazz money line and spread this morning from the schedule spot article, and the market is agreeing so far. We will talk about that. We will talk about every game, side and total. I'm glad Steven is getting some value out of the newsletter. Of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Drop a like wherever you're watching. Those little things go a long way in helping us grow the show. We don't do any YouTube promotions. We don't pay for any marketing. So it's all about putting out good content, reliable content, and getting steady growth because people are just tuning in, including from Romania. That blows my mind. There's people from Australia. We got Ian on the show from the Philippines. We got Drew in Canada. We got Romania here. I know Mexico is frequently in the chat. Those things blow my mind, and I could see it on the podcast website, Buzzsprout, which uploads the show in audio form to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pandora, wherever you get your podcast. You could get NBA Betting with Fiddle. And I can see where people are listening from. And it blows my mind that this podcast that I started in the closet of an old home in Boston, Massachusetts that I used to live in is now being listened to in Australia and Romania and the Philippines and Canada and America, Mexico. Blows my mind. So thank you to everybody for the support. Let's keep doing what we always do, sharing the FanDuel odds screen, going through every side and total on the card. If you have a bet that you want me to go over, if you have a prop that you want me to speak on, drop it in the comments and we will hit it as we go through the show. This starts with the Brooklyn Nets taking on the Indiana Pacers in Indiana. It is a winless team against a one-win team in the Nets at the Pacers. So some bleak franchises right now in this game. I will say the coach Jordi Fernandez on the Nets recently came out and said, it's a struggle for me to get my team to play hard. And on the other side, the Indiana Pacers have literally a grocery list. This is like a shopping list. This is a laundry list. But wait, it's actually their injury report. So Ray J. Dennis is probable. We have out Mathurin, McConnell, Nembhard, Toppin, Powell. So there's just so many guys out. We're seeing Mac McClung play a lot of minutes for the Pacers. They just had Isaiah Jackson go absolutely crazy against Miles Turner, and they forced that to a near overtime before Giannis had a ridiculously hard and impressive game winner. We do have Nesmith back out there, so the Pacers at least have Siakam and Nesmith. Model-wise, this is looking at Pacers minus, I'll pull it up right now. It was a decent spot for the Pacers, but then once you make the manual adjustments for the injuries, it's like, no, you can't play that. So we have us at 6.8 on the Pacers side, and that includes their full season stats. So it does reflect a lot of the injuries that they've dealt with this season. So it's going to be Pacers or nothing, but you'd like to be a little bit further ahead. You'd like to certainly close ahead. The entire board is at 6.5. It did flash to 7 at points. I don't think we're necessarily getting back to 7.5. So it's Pacers or nothing for me. And it was more of a nothing spot. I will say, prop-wise in this game, Drew let me know right before the show, and this is something that Drew does frequently. He plays middles on props, and it's not the middle that you're necessarily thinking of. He gets middles with one lone number. So he played under Terrence Mann on the Brooklyn Nets, 4.5 rebounds at FanDuel, and then he played the Terrence Mann 4+ rebounds at BetMGM, and he said they're like minus 120 on each side, but it is definitely a positive value middle to do. So if you just play them equally on both sides, the amount that you're paying in VIG for the chance to lose one and win one, you cannot possibly in any world lose both of those bets, but you can win both if it lands on the 4, because 4+ will cash, and obviously under 4.5 will cash on the 4. So Drew does that frequently. He let me know before the show. Terrence Mann rebound prop. I'm doing it again. 4+ and under 4.5. I said, you just might be smarter than all of us. The Philadelphia 76ers are going to Cleveland. It is nice to see Cleveland. Oh, reverse that. It says 4+ at FanDuel, under 4.5 at BetMGM. Thank you, Drew. Appreciate that a lot. That's what it is. 4+ at FanDuel, under 4.5 at BetMGM. They're both about minus 120. Okay. Let's move on to Philadelphia and Cleveland for this game. It is nice to see Cleveland gets some guys questionable again who have been out. Jared Allen dealing with a finger injury. Darius Garland dealing with a toe injury. Sam Merrill dealing with a hip injury, have all been missing games and now are all upgraded to questionable. You've seen Darius Garland be interviewed on the sidelines of games. He seems very happy. He seems very confident. He has been given out a lot of hints that he was going to be back very soon. I would not be surprised at all if it is in this game. On the other side, Dominic Barlow, Joel Embiid, Paul George, all doubtful. Embiid just went from healthy to questionable. And I'm like, it's the second night of a back-to-back for Philly after they absolutely blew the fucking lead against the Chicago Bulls last night. Josh Giddey with a sick outlet pass, driving, dishes, finds Vucevic in the corner. The Bulls are down 1. Vuce hits a 3 with 3 seconds left. Wow. What a amazing comeback. I started watching when the Bulls were down 19 in the third quarter. I saw Giddey hit a 3, and he was like looking all tough. And I know Giddey's been amazing, so this is not an anti-Giddey thing at all. He's been fantastic. He should be an all-star this year. We need to start talking about him as potentially one of the great Bulls in their franchise history when we get a few more years under his belt. He just signed that 4-year, $100 million contract. That's going to look like a steal of a contract if he keeps this up. He's already third all-time in their triple doubles. He's going to catch Scottie Pippen soon, and I would guess by the end of this contract, he's ahead of Michael Jordan. So even in 4 years from now, he's young, he's playing well, he's going to be an all-star. He hit a 3 last night, and I'm like, dude, you're still down 19. What are we doing? Nope, Giddey knew. He had the juice. The Bulls were going to come back. Trey Jones played some amazing defense. But that's not what we're here to talk about. It's 76ers Cavs. We have a spread at 10.5, a total at 234.5. This has been more Cavaliers movement in the screens. It was open at a consensus 9.5. It did pop to 11, and now it is back down to 10.5. So definitely some resistance at 11, 10.5 or 10s across the board. It is still going to be Cavaliers or nothing for me. Thinking that, we're officially going to get Embiid out news. Does that move the line half a point more? Is this just fully pricing Embiid out? It probably is fully pricing Embiid out. But if you get Allen, Garland, and Sam Merrill in, that should take this up. So hopefully we see those guys back. Jared Allen played a full 82 games for the Cavs last year, and he said he was going to try and do it again. And then he misses, unfortunately, some games early in the season with a finger injury. So hopefully Cavs get their guys back. It's going to be important for them because they're still playing the same style of basketball with no shooters. Like they're letting Larry Nance shoot a lot. They're letting Evan Mobley shoot a lot of threes. And so if you replace that with Garland and Sam Merrill, that's just going to boost their offense again. The Utah Jazz are at the Detroit Pistons in Motown. Utah continues their road trip on the East Coast without Walker Kessler. He has been sent back to Salt Lake City. He is undergoing some treatment for a shoulder injury. It looks like he's going to miss some time. Walker Kessler was playing amazing to start the year, and I was saying Danny Ainge is finally going to get his 2 first-round picks that he's been holding out for Walker Kessler. We got Bronny joining the room with me and laying in the corner. Welcome in, Bronny. Glad you're here making it for the show. We have Pistons at 9.5, a total at 232.5. We saw this total. I'm just shouting out resistance points early. I'm starting out market moves and resistance points. We saw this line go from 233.5 down to 231.5, and then bounce back up to 232.5. There are still 232s on the board. For me, under or nothing in this spot. Detroit has a phenomenal defense. Asar Thompson is significantly improved this year. He is way better than I thought he was going to be coming into the season. Obviously, Amen had a lot of hype. Amen was great last season. Yes, he's taken another step forward, but it's Asar who's like really, really improved on, especially his defense is just insane. So Ron Holland, those are the Detroit Terror Twins, as Amen Thompson and Tari Eason are to the Houston Rockets. They have a lot of wing depth. They have a lot of big depth. And of course, Cade Cunningham, great end half court sets. So they're going to run a lot of pick and roll with Duren and Cade. Hopefully Utah's shooting continues to be some woes, but there has been some Utah action come into the market. So if you're looking at side or total, we saw Steven point this out in the comments earlier where he said, I took the Jazz spread and money line. Not a bad look considering that he got Jazz definitely at a better price than 9. It was 10.5 and moved straight to 9.5. There was 11s at some points last night. I'm looking at the timestamps right now. And so now we're seeing a move from 11 down to 9.5. There has been no resistance where it hit 9 and bounced back up. It's just steadily moving one directional on the Utah Jazz. Let me pull up where we have that game priced so that we have a sense of maybe where it could go. Yeah, it's 10.9 in market ratings, 7 on model. So if you maybe factor the two of them together, you're looking at 9.5. Yeah, should be bang on at this price right now. We use two things to help price these games: market ratings, which is using closing line data, and some transitive properties, chain law in math. Ian would be smiling if I could see him back of house right now because he is a applied mathematics major. The transitive property and the chain law is comparing different closing lines from around the league and understanding where market ratings exist. So that's what you would do. We go on to the Timberwolves at the New York Knicks. We were hit with some injury news last night and this morning going in different ways. Anthony Edwards upgraded to questionable for this game with the hamstring injury. He was cleared for contact on Monday, and now he is questionable for this game. Do we get the Ant-Man back? We will see. Karl Anthony Towns downgraded to questionable today. So Towns has been probable on a lot of injury reports. He's been dealing with, I think, a quad injury. He has been downgraded to questionable. We have seen steady movement on the under. We have seen, obviously, movement on the Wolves. So we had Wolves at plus 5.5, not given out as a play. What was given out as a play is Knicks Wolves under 231.5. So very glad to see it this morning here at 227.5. I'm trying to find best odds on the board. There are some 228s. There are as low as 227 flats. So if you want to grab an under 228, that's available at Caesars, Circa. Going across the screen real quick. There's a 227.5 minus 105 to the under at BetMGM, and that half point of difference is not worth a 5 cents. So 227.5 minus 105 is actually the best available line at BetMGM. If you do want an under, I would say you're now pretty reliant on Towns missing the game to get closing line value. The reason why 231.5 was played was because that's what the line should have been if Anthony Edwards and Towns both played. So I was like, this can only, I didn't know about Towns, but I did know that Ant was still at least questionable. I wasn't sure he was going to return. I knew he was cleared on Monday. We said it on the Monday show. I knew he was upgraded to questionable. There was good signs on Anthony Edwards. However, I was like, if we evaluate the asymmetric risk that is baked into this game, it's Anthony Edwards might be out and the total is going to drop, or Anthony Edwards is in and we're already at the total that it should be. So using those points of data, it was like, okay, I will play this because it seems one directional in the potential closing line value to obtain. So it was Knicks Wolves under 231.5. That was sent out in our WHOP group last night. If you make it to the end of today's show, there will be a promo code if you are interested in joining and signing up and getting first access to all of those numbers and releases and closing line values. The Wizards are playing at the Boston Celtics. This is a tough game for me to handicap, and I'll tell you why. It is because the Wizards currently rank number 2 in the NBA in pace. 105.08 possessions. On the other end of the spectrum, the Boston Celtics are dead fucking last in pace, 96.6. So we have two teams with completely opposite play styles. And for that reason, it's always hard for me to see, oh, we are getting some significant over movement in this Cavs game. I think we might have just gotten some players active. Okay. It is hard for me to handicap these games because you don't know which team is going to dictate play style. You can generally say the team that's better or more well coached or in a rest advantage spot or in a home court advantage spot. So you could evaluate some of those factors. Do you have home court? Do you have the talent advantage? Do you have the coaching advantage? I'm going to say check, check, check for Boston side. So maybe this is a slower paced game, but Boston keeps talking about wanting to play faster, and we're going to play fast this season. You're dead last in pace, Boston. We have seen the total climb from 229.5 to 233.5. So there has been 4 points of movement towards the over in this game. The only thing on the injury report is Chris Middleton is going to be out. So should have all of the guard play for the Wizards, should have Alex Sarr, who's having a breakout campaign and being efficient on offense, which is very impressive. Last season, his defense was there in spurts, but it was his shot making and his shot selection that was absolutely brutal. This year, he looks like he should have been the first pick in the draft over Zachary Richardson. But yeah, some serious over movement in this game. Let me check the spread really quick. I think this has gone out towards Boston. We had 11s go out to 12. We had 10.5 at circa, now at 12. Bested market is an 11.5 minus 115. So yeah, Boston action and an over action. Can those things be considered counterintuitive? Yeah, a bit. Or inversely correlated? Yeah, a bit. But if you also think there's going to be more points scored, you can also say that creates a larger gap for there to be a bigger score differential. So nothing for me in this game so far as we've moved through this card. It is only the under in the Knicks Timberwolves at 231.5. I will quickly say, take one more second to like, subscribe, drop a comment in the YouTube. Let us know what you are on. Let me know where you are watching from. Let me know if you think I'm going over or under the 2.5 shots for BetStamp when I shoot a shot on that hoop back there at the end of the show. And if I do, we'll pull up an EV prop. But just, drop a like on the show. It helps us a lot. The Houston Rockets. There is going to be an actionable spot in this game. There is my favorite bet on the card in this game. The Houston Rockets are at the Memphis Grizzlies. Let's slow this down and explain this pretty thoroughly. Said before, we're using market ratings and a model. The model has this at 8.9 for the Rockets, 8.9 point favorites. Market ratings have this at Rockets minus 8.8. So we have market ratings and model both saying this should be close to a 9-point spread. We have the market actually in the betting sense agreeing with us with this going from 6.5 out to 7.5. We have a consensus 7.5, and it has been that way since it moved from 6.5 and 7. So we have not yet hit 8, but in my opinion, I think we will. And I think we will hit 8 and potentially 8.5. And so grabbing a 7.5 will be plus EV at tip-off. So if there is one get down on its spot on this card right now, it is the Houston Rockets minus 7.5. Market ratings, model, and market signals are all agreeing on this spot. If we look at the injury report for this game, Dorian Finney-Smith still yet to play a game this season, remains out. Steven Adams, Jabari Smith Jr. are both questionable, and Davison is in. So if we look at Adams and Jabari Smith Jr., those might be not big line movers, but maybe half points. And so maybe if they're both in, you do get that 8.5. And then if we add in the handicap for the Memphis Grizzlies right now, the Memphis Grizzlies are on a third game in 4 nights. They had John Morant be suspended for conduct detrimental to the team. They had Ja Morant return last game and get bullied by Asar Thompson. I spoke about Asar earlier when we talked about the Pistons and how impressed I was. He had 4 steals and 2 blocks against the Grizzlies the other night. His defense is lights out. You really learn that from watching the Grizzlies this season, because they are missing on the Grizzlies side of this, Zach Edey, Brandon Clark, Ty Jerome, Scottie Pippen Jr., all out with injuries. So those side, like that side of the Grizzlies injury equation means there's no depth. They're like wing heavy and not really good wings for the Grizzlies. You're relying on the Jalen Wells, the Vince Williams, the G.G. Jacksons, who can't really seem to do much out there. Cedric Coward, been very fucking impressive for Memphis, but that's not enough versus the Houston Rockets. So if you look at how you stop Memphis, it's having an elite point of attack defender. So you literally go from Asar to Amen. And so they're going to have that and maintain that. And on the pick and roll, the Rockets are very switch heavy. So on a pick and roll heavy Memphis side, they can mitigate a lot of that and throw the next guy at Ja Morant. So I think this is a resounding Houston Rockets spot. If there's anything that you are watching the show and betting, it is Houston Rockets -7.5. Absolutely love it. If you get Jabari Smith in, if you get Steven Adams in, Steven Adams, a former Memphis Grizzly when the locker room was very sound. I'm sure they're going to be missing him. I'm sure the Memphis crowd is going to be absolutely cheering for Steven Adams. You notice when Steven Adams goes on the road, the opposing crowds just fucking love him. I don't think that's any surprise. Dallas Mavericks against the New Orleans Pelicans. We are in Dallas for this game. Second night of a back-to-back for the New Orleans Pelicans after getting their first win of the season at or home against the Charlotte Hornets last night without LaMelo and Brandon Miller. We also have Zion out for this game. Kevon Looney, Yves Missi. We will see about them. Looney doubtful, Missi questionable. Missi was a late scratch yesterday. Does that mean he's actually going to play this game? Does that mean he's going to miss? And it's going to be DeAndre Jordan and Derek Queen. Can Derek Queen get a minute? He was traded for a lottery pick this year. Can he get a fucking minute on this team? Is Willie Green going to last another week coaching for the Pelicans? It seems like this team is steadily heading in the wrong direction. 7.5 is a steep number to pay on the Mavericks this season, but it's probably still worth it. Like, I'm kind of kicking myself. I didn't play it at 6.5. So let's see if there's any 6.5s on the card. I was like, why are we at Pelicans +6.5? Why is this Mavs -6.5? I was looking at that last night. I did buckets, and Matt told me, he's like, I have this as like nearly a pick 'em just running on season numbers because I've downgraded the Mavericks so much because of their injuries, right? Anthony Davis out, Lively out. So the Mavs are depleted too. Kyrie obviously out. Cooper Flag and Klay Thompson. The 2 lowest plus minuses in the fucking league. Who has the single worst plus minus in the league this season? Klay Thompson. Who has the second worst in the league? Cooper Flag. So it's not been fun sledding to be a Mavericks fan this season. I get that. There's prospects for hope, but it's bleak and it's grim to be watching these games. So I did not make the move on Dallas. I feel like I should have. I do kind of like Dallas in this spot. I did send out in the newsletter one of the props for the Tuesday prop article featuring BetStamp Pro was Cooper Flag 2+ steals. So over 1.5 steals was the line for Flag. It was +206 at DraftKings last night. Let me quickly look that up and see where that is right now because that was a good one. Steals. It has moved to just over under one steal. Okay. No, you could still get that at +205, +220 at FanDuel, +210 at ESPN Bet, +210 at Bet Rivers, +200 if you want to bet $4.36 at Fanatics. So yeah, like Cooper Flag, over 1.5 steals. If he's not being forced to play point guard and he could play more off ball. And the reason why he's being forced to play point guard is because Anthony Davis and Derek Lively and Gafford and PJ Washington and Klay Thompson, and those guys are all going to demand minutes, right? So where do you put Flag? Like D'Angelo Russell's your weakest link on a guy that you could like trim minutes from. So you put Flag at point guard. It's just de facto because you have too many bigs. With Lively and Davis out, Gafford is back. But with those guys out, you actually can play more Brandon Williams. You can play more D'Angelo Russell. You could slide Cooper Flag back to where he should be. So for a steals perspective, he's not playing on ball as much, which is good because he can be in the passing lanes. He can start to jump in front of some of those passes. He is an amazing defender. He's a great free safety out there as a defender. And the Pelicans ranked 28th in the league in turnovers. So I do think this is a Cooper Flag spot. Over 9.5 rebounds and assists was another one. I will check that quickly on the Cooper Flag news. It is 10.5. There's a 9.5 minus 120 at Bet365. At BetMGM, it is minus 125. So if you're looking at Cooper Flag rebounds and assists, Bet365 and MGM have a good line. If you're looking at steals, over 1.5 steals or 2+ steals, plus 220 FanDuel, plus 205 DraftKings, plus 210 ESPN Bet or Bet Rivers, and for $4.36, plus 200 at Fanatics. So those are going to be the spots that I like the Mavericks in this game as well. We've had a total creep up to 227, probably because we are without some bigs in this game. The Miami Heat travel to Denver. If we're going to talk about what's the spot of all spots, it's the Denver Nuggets. So let's get into it. Nuggets, 9.5 point favorites, a total here at 241.5. This is a brutal spot for Miami. Miami had back-to-back against the LA teams. They had Lakers first, then Clippers. They lost to the Lakers by 10. They beat the Clippers by 1. Miami is notably playing the fastest pace in the NBA. They are playing, the Wizards were 2. We mentioned that earlier. Miami Heat, number 1. Why? Noah LaRoche, the assistant coach for the Memphis Grizzlies last year, who plays all of that freestyle offense, is now hired by Eric Spoelstra and running the offense for Miami. They are calling no plays, was something I heard on Hoop Collective, is that Spoelstra goes entire halves without calling a play. And so it is all freestyle offense, and it is all not going to get into our sets and run our motions and go heavy pick and roll. It is none of that. Very little pick and roll. No set plays. A lot of spacing and shooting. A lot of drive and kick. So it is just fast moving, and they're playing with the number 1 pace. Now they go 3 games in 4 nights. Obviously, they have the back-to-back and then 1 rest day. But then they go into altitude to get the Nuggets at home, which is a brutal spot. The Nuggets are fantastic at home. And so this is a terrible spot for Miami. Model-wise, I made it Nuggets minus 9.1. So what's the adjustment in how bad the spot is for Miami when you include the fast pace that they are playing only makes it harder to maintain that for a 3rd game in 4 nights in altitude, right? They're on South Beach most of the year. That is not in altitude. This is going to be getting the wind taken from you a little bit, and Denver will try and capitalize with a transition offense. We're getting skinnier by the day, Nikola Jokic. Jokic looked 20 pounds overweight to start the year. I mean, does it matter? Is he having a triple-double in every game? Doesn't matter too much. Yes, he is having a triple-double every game. But Jokic is looking better. They are starting to play faster. They're starting to move the ball. Hopefully, Jamal Murray's calf is feeling a little bit better. Jamal Murray probable, Tyler Hero out, or that's going to be the main ones. Jovic, Nikola Jovic, a little Jovic versus Jokic matchup. Nikola versus Nikola. Jovic is questionable. Powell is in. So, Jovic and Powell are both in. Jakučiūnas is questionable. Okay, so that's going to be another boost towards the over. We've seen since Norm Powell returned, we've seen steady over movement, 241.5. This was played in the WHOP. Let me explain how this was played and sent out last night. Over 240.5. Nuggets minus 8.5. And then both of them parlayed. Why? Because if you are going to gain closing line value on a 2-leg parlay and getting about plus 260-ish on a 2-leg parlay, you're not being charged a heavy SGP tax and a correlation tax in that. And so I believe it was plus 256, if I can remember correctly, for Nuggets minus 8.5 and over 240.5. Both of those have gained closing line value. You can use the parlay multiplier to work in your favor if you are very consistent in getting closing line value. So if you are going to attack both of these spots and you get CLV on both of them, the parlay is actually beneficial, right? How crazy is that? It's actually beneficial. So the math on that is if you have a 55% hit rate on 2-leg parlays at plus 260, you will return a 6% ROI. If you have a 55% hit rate on straight bets on minus 110s, you will return a 3% ROI. So you could double your ROI by getting smart parlays. How often should you do it? Not often. It's not something you reach for, but it is something when you have the opportunity, you can do. Is it always an SGP? Hell no. If you were going to see 2 early lines, best available prices in the market, going to gain closing line value, and you could parlay 2 completely different games. And in fact, if those games had 0 overlapping time, if you were going to pick off what's earliest in this slate, Nets, Pacers, and then come back in with whatever's latest, OKC, Blazers, and get closing line value on both of those. You remain flexible after one game ends and the next game opens. Do you want to open a middle? Do you want to do anything live in terms of a hedge? Ideally not, but you have the option. So that's actually the most ideal way. In this case, it was an SGP because they both gained closing line value. We are looking good here. A plus EV parlay. Riddle me that. I rarely play parlays. There are definitely spots for early markets in the NBA to do it. Let's move on. The Spurs are at the LA Lakers. I do want to say that a spread at 2.5 and a home court advantage being worth 3 points means the San Antonio Spurs have surpassed the LA Lakers in power ratings. That is true in terms of market ratings. When I checked last night, the Spurs were 7th in the NBA. Wow. 5-1, I think they are. 6-1. Second place in the West. This team is fucking rolling. They still haven't even gotten De'Aaron Fox to play a single game. So, yes, the Lakers will get LeBron. The Spurs will get back Fox. We will see how those impact one another. Obviously, LeBron worth a little bit more if LeBron and Fox were both playing. If Austin Reeves was a full go instead of questionable with a groin injury, I think that might change. But given what we have here, we have the Spurs as a better team, quote unquote, than the Lakers in terms of market pricing. Do I believe that? No. Give me the Lakers minus 2.5. I still think that's playable. If you get the Reeves get going in news for this game, this line should close 3.5. So if we're doing probabilistic modeling, giving Reeves about 2 points, calling him worth 50-50, then we're going to say it'll move another full point on Reeves being in. So I like Lakers minus 2.5. Of course, the offensive rating with just Luka has been unbelievable for the Lakers. The offensive rating with Luka and Reeves has been even better. The offensive rating with just Reeves and without Luka has also been damn impressive. So how does that face up against DPOY Victor Wembanyama? I would think that Luka has the brains and the experience against Wemby to know how to mitigate some of those factors. He will be doing a lot of his Luka step backs throughout this game, creating a lot of space, forcing Wemby to jump, trying to draw fouls. We might see a Luka clinic tonight. That would be very fun to watch. The Warriors have a short bus ride to Sacramento. A little 40-minute trip from Chase to Beam Team, Sacktown. And so no travel on this road game, but we do have a second night of a back-to-back for the Warriors after returning from an East Coast trip. So they played Bucks and Pacers, I think October 30th and November 1st. Then they had a rest day. Then they come back. They play the Phoenix Suns. They get a win over the Phoenix Suns last night, and now they play Sacramento the following night on the road. So tough schedule spot for Warriors. And then on top of that, Jimmy Butler is dealing with a back injury. Steph Curry is dealing with an illness. Steph Curry is already ruled out. Butler is questionable, but I would say he's probably on the wrong side of questionable. So let's explain the line moves real quick and some point values attributed to the players. Steph Curry is worth about 4.7 points against the spread. Let's call it 5 because we were moving through the 0, which is irrelevant. It is worth less. So you can expand the value of players when they are moving through less significant numbers, because it's not about the points, just black and white. It is about the value of each line movement by a matter of cents to the market. Let me say that one more time. A value of a player in points is actually just a representation of the amount of cents that each line move is worth on the dollar, and therefore it is a nice projection of that. But if we are moving through less important numbers, it is going to move a little bit further or a little bit faster. So further is probably the better term. So Steph Curry and the Warriors are a -2.5, -3 at Sacramento on the second night of a back-to-back. Steve Kerr says in the post-game press conference after beating the Sun, Steph will be out tomorrow. He's sick. Steph will be out. We got that confirmed with Steve Kerr on the podium, right? So now we go and we say, Steph Curry's out. That line moves all the way from Warriors -3 to Warriors +2. 5 points of line movement. And then it starts to take a little bit more steam. And then Steve Kerr continues with his postgame. He says Jimmy Butler's also questionable with his back injury, and he was actually a late add to the injury report today. And it goes another full point. Jimmy Butler worth about 2.4. So if we combine Steph's 5 and Jimmy's 2.4, we're looking at 7.5 points. So if this line has moved from 3 to 3.5, we're looking at 6.5. Meaning there's another full point of value to go if Jimmy's out. So if you want to take this cap and say Jimmy's actually going to be out, this Sacramento Kings line probably closes at 4.5, right? So if anything, it's a Sacramento spot. If anything, it is a Zach LaVine over on his rebounds. Over 3.5 was another prop look on rebounds. LaVine is also questionable with a back injury, but he's been playing through it, and this is a better rest spot for the Kings. So I expect LaVine to go questionable to in. You get LaVine in, you get Jimmy Butler out. This is at least 4.5. So take that as you will. Maybe you want to wait for the news to hit and try and get in there pretty quick and be knowing this news is going to come sometime around shoot around whenever these teams start getting out there, track their beat writers and know who's going to send out the information for the Kings, who's going to send out the information for the Warriors. I want to be on top of it. I want to time this. And if I'm getting the tea leaves that Fiddle thinks we're going to get, this line's going to go to 4.5 and be a good King spot. So I like Kings, if anything, and I like Zach LaVine over 3.5 rebounds. 3.5 on the Kings, 3.5 on the rebounds. Rebounds cap there is, one, it's just a good price compared to the market when it was at -104 here at FanDuel. Let me check that really quick for you guys. It's -114 now. Okay. There is a -110. Ronnie. What? Look at her. What are you barking at? Oh, there's someone at my stairs. There's someone right outside my patio. So, Ronnie, keep protecting this house. Appreciate it. We have -110 on that Zach LaVine prop somewhere. Let me quickly find it. The minus, no, it's at a sharp hook that I don't have access to. It's at Bet Buckeye if people do have access to betting there. Best available at where I can see is -113 FanDuel, -114 DraftKings, -117 Caesars. So -113 on Novig if you play on the exchanges. So yeah, some decent options. Not rushing to it without that 10 cents of value that literally that's what I wrote in the newsletter. It's like, this is probably 12 cents off market. I do hear the people that Bronny's barking at. Good job, Bronny. Keep him away. Let's keep moving. If Jimmy Butler's out, I don't expect much movement in the total. Good defender, great mid-range shooter. So I don't expect much move, but I do expect more rebounding opportunities. If Steph Curry's threes and Jimmy Butler's mid-range prowess are both out, I do expect more rebound opportunities for Zach LaVine. OKC Thunder playing at Portland Trailblazers. If we are going to say San Antonio's having one of the better breakout seasons, we also need to say the same thing is true about the Portland Trailblazers. They are ahead of the San Antonio Spurs, not in the standings, but in the market ratings. So they are 6th in the league. Is that noise and early season stuff, or is that real? I don't know, but just being a 4.5, like if we were pricing this game preseason, what's OKC at Portland? It's like 6.5, 7. So the fact that we're already down to 4.5, I know OKC's on the second night of a back-to-back. I know Lou Dort left yesterday's game and didn't return. Chet Holmgren dealing with a back injury. J-Dub is just going to be remaining out for this game. So yeah, you compile all those factors. I still don't think we're at 4.5 preseason at all. So shout out Thiago Splitter. Portland rallying with all the drama that's going on, still playing great basketball. I can't really recommend either side of this because it's just so dependent on Dort, Holmgren, and where their injuries are going to go. I will say it was 5.5 across the board. So does the market indicate where the injury news is going to come? We just had the move to 4 at Circa. We have the 4 showing up on offshores, bookmaker, Caesars. So this is going towards Portland. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get Chet Holmgren or Lou Dort is going to be out and missing this game. I am seeing Anthony Edwards participated in shoot around. Terrence Shannon Jr. is downgraded to questionable. DeAndre Hunter is downgraded to questionable. But that is all the only new injury information I see since starting the show. So nothing pertaining to this game. Market signals saying this is going to be a Portland spot and maybe some bad news bears. Adam Silver, clean up the injury reporting. We need the news before the market. Actually, I don't know. Often I use that to my advantage. That does it for all of today's games. Let me quickly review what was given out in the WHOP. We don't have the great Ian Toria, so I didn't make the graphic that he so nicely does, but it was under on the Knicks Timberwolves under 231.5. We're just seeing this tick up now because of Anthony Edwards participating in shoot around. But again, 231.5. That was a great spot. It is the Houston Rockets minus 6.5, played for a full unit. It is the Denver Nuggets minus 8.5, the over 240.5. Those things parlayed together, and the Lakers minus 2.5. So Lakers still playable for sure. Rockets still playable at 7.5. Those would be the 2 get down on it spots if you listen to the show. And if you want access to all of those picks in real time, then what you can do, and you made it to this point in the show, first of all, thank you. You spend nearly an hour with me on a Wednesday morning, getting into Wednesday afternoon. Thank you. We appreciate your time. And if you want access to all of the picks 7 days a week, use promo code end of the show. You can find the WHOP sign up link in the YouTube description, in the podcast description. If you're listening on the audio feed, you can find it in my Twitter bio. If you're watching on Twitter, use code end of the show and you will get 50% off the month or 4-month option. So please consider it. If you're wanting to sign up, use the promo code, get 50% off. But thank you for doing that. And please hit the like button, subscribe, share the show with a friend. Do you talk NBA betting with a friend? Because send them the show, have them watch the show on days that you can, and let you know where the spots are going to be. Divide and conquer. Specialize within this shit. One on the newsletter, one on the show. Get all the information. You will be a profitable NBA better. Ruben says, I used the code for the 4-month option. Sucker for a good deal. Thank you, Ruben. Looking as handsome as ever. Saw Ruben in our community chat last night talking about Red Panda having a great performance at the Chicago game. Not only Josh Giddey having a great performance, but Red Panda back from the wrist injury, throwing bowls on the top of her head from her feet on a unicycle, doing it as good as she ever has. Shout out Red Panda. Let's go through some comments, and then we're going to do the over-under 2.5 shots for BetStamp. Brian says, Boston here. Love that. Let me know where in Boston you were. I mean, you could DM it to me so you don't have to say it publicly. I was in, oh my God, I forget the name of the town. I really didn't spend much time there. West. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm forgetting this. That's sad. And I think my memory's good. It'll hit me. John says, just signed up for the newsletter. Thanks, Fiddle. Fiddlespicks.substack.com. Completely free to sign up. You will get good information. Larry says, Fiddle, do you bet college hoops too? No, I do not. Let me explain this. No, I do not handicap and bet college basketball on my own. I do work with other people, and they will send me things, and I will action their information because I know they are good. So if that happens, sure, I will technically bet college hoops. That's like Drew telling me to bet the Blue Jays to win the World Series, and I did, but I hate baseball. Kind of got into the Blue Jays at the end of the year. Shout out Toronto sports right now. Raptors, balling. You can call me a delusional Raptors fan. Blue Jays, I'm on the bandwagon. We're here. We're back next year. Let's go, Jays. Also, Toronto Tempo just hired Sandy Brondello from my New York Liberty, is now coaching the Toronto Tempo. So Toronto sports, we're looking up right now. What up, Fiddle? Give me the Jazz plus 10.5. Yeah, if you got that 10.5, great job. I don't think that's coming back. So good stuff. John, you mentioned over at Action Network that it's not a good idea to live bet OKC minus 2.5 when they were down. Does that also mean not to live bet Clippers when they're up 10.5 by 1 point? I mentioned that I don't live bet. I was asked, would you do this now? And my answer was no, because I'm not good at live betting. That, like, you have to know your strengths and your weaknesses. I am not a good live bettor. I know too much about the pregame markets, about what's happening in sides and totals, and a lot of that goes out the window. I did say you have to rely on not injuries. You have to rely on substitution patterns and NBA rotations. And I did say that if anything, now was the time to buy, because I looked up, I was like, yeah, Harden and Zubac are going to be out for the next 5 minutes. So if you are gonna buy it, now's the time. But like, no, because I can't recommend live betting because I'm not good at it. And so know your strengths and your weaknesses. Don't be, you don't need to end all be all for everything. Being the wizard of sports gambling doesn't exist. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. Feel free to admit them. Also, kind of not surprised to see John chime in with something kind of annoying. Over 0.5 3-pointers made by Fiddle. Thank you, T2. I appreciate you. He believes in me. Davion Mitchell, over 1.5 steals. Off night in Denver, having a good defensive game. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Steven, I know you don't take derivatives, but do you think altitude effects are better realized in first half versus full game? I think that's a good question. I will play some of those derivative markets but like the reason why I don't play them as much is because I am more doing early cycle betting, so betting some overnights, and you don't always have first half lines available. You have full game lines available, and so then the full game lines are going to move, and that's going to shape the first half market that comes up. So I could get the CLV early on a full game, even if I have a first half angle. Maybe I'll come back and play that. But generally, I could just get more EV on full game because I could get earlier to market. Draymond alt unders his Steph and Jimmy are at early ejection spot. Hilarious. If Mac didn't write early ejection spot, I would have said Draymond's going to get himself ejected because that's what he does when Steph doesn't play. I'm not opposed to Draymond unders. I don't like doing alts, the derivative stuff, because in these props, because generally you're just not going to get the right bang for your buck. Like the amount of juice that you have to pay, or the amount of bonus that you should get isn't what they'll actually give you. So the best thing in prop lines is to just play the standard lines. D-Trip Fiddle, would you still take the 9.5? My apologies if this was already mentioned. I don't know if he's talking about the Jazz, the Ayaz. In which case, no, I wouldn't take the 9.5 still. I think that's where we're going to end up. I would say if you're talking about Cooper Flag or Nuggets. Oh, thank you, Drew. There was 3 9.5s mentioned: the Ayaz, the Cooper Flag prop, and the Nuggets. No, because I have that game at 9.1, and so we're just seeing all the effects of the bad spot be priced in for Miami here. So no, I'm not going to go much further and pay vig on -9. Like if you got -9.5 plus 100, right? If you bet this 50% on the exchanges and you were not having to pay a vig price, sure. Thank you, Drew, for commenting that in. Brian Spielberg, Spurs plus 2.5, Kings -2.5. Spurs are going to lose because I like the Lakers. Kings are going to win. All right, that does it for the comments. Thank you to everybody for commenting in. We greatly appreciate it. Now I'm going to take these 3 balls and try and make one of them on that there hoop. And if I do, we will share the BetStamp Pro Odds Screen. That is the odds screen that I use. It is also linked in the YouTube description and the audio description of the show. If you want access to some of the same resources that I use, if you are taking your betting very seriously, if you're trying to scale up, if you are consistently profitable, if you have a unit size probably north of $100 a unit and you want access to be able to get a lot of wagers down, a high volume. Drew, I know, uses the BetStamp Pro Odds Screen as well to get a lot of volume down. So if you want access to that, all these prop angles, if you want that under 4.5 but 4+ rebound angle quantified for you and know what the edge is, get BetStamp Pro. Highly recommend. Big fan of BetStamp, and I wouldn't just do that for any thing I didn't believe in. I wouldn't plug something I truly don't believe in. BetStamp is fucking amazing. They also have great tracking resources. They also have some educational content, and they do have a main odds screen as well. If you don't want the full props odds screen because it's very expensive, they do have a main. They do have a 2-week trial period for the main as well. Pinnacle has -9.5, -102, which Drew took for half a unit. Thank you, Drew. Let's do the one shot that we've changed to over under 2.5 shots because that rim is quite unforgiving. This is more like a carnival game, and I feel oh my God. Guys, Bronny is sleeping down there right under the hoop. Like, I can't shoot the shot. I know it's a rubber basketball, but I'm not shooting the shot and having it potentially hit my dog. We're just going to assume I made it. So bucket counts. Let's just do the segment. I'm not shooting the ball at Bronny and having it go clearly into the hoop. It went in first try, obviously. And we're not going to do that. But we will share the BetStamp Pro Odds Screen. I will share this tab. I will. Fid's now 100% on BetStamp shots this season. I did hit 1 for 1 yesterday. Drew's hilarious commenting again. I did hit 1 for 1 yesterday. Clearly went 2 for 2 today because I think everyone can agree. Don't shoot the shot while Bronny's right underneath there. All right, we are looking at the best EV, lowest hold props right now. This is sorted by hold, so you can see some middles, some arbitrages that are just pulled from the market. This literally outright scrapes the market on all of these things. You can set the books that you want. So all the books that I have access to, I don't know why I have to take Fanatics off. I guess I find it's funny sometimes when Fanatics has a good line, and I shout it out like, yeah, you could bet $2.12 on that. But yeah, so you have the books that I use sorted. You have their true line, which is baked on 5 years of prop data. You can sort by hold, you could sort by edge, you could sort by EV. We're going to sort this by EV and ride a fun long shot together. We go in Najee Marshall double because all the bigs are out for Dallas, and we also have him doing some distributing duties. Probably not Jaden McDaniels double, but we have Ant probably coming back for this game. Do we just play the Jaquez middle? But then you have to assume that we have 2 books. Okay, let's keep going. Comment if you see any. We did Jonas Valanciunas double last game at 30-1. It's now 19-1 the very next game. So even though 30-1 didn't hit, we also said Jonas Valanciunas over 0.5 blocks, and he had 2 blocks. So that was nice. But also seeing the market nuked by 33% on the very next game posted just shows that even though that the bet didn't hit, it was probably a good ticket. Nemes Keita was another one that we pointed out for plus 950, and now it's down to plus 560. So there was one. Ja Morant triple-double, 100-1. Is this just a Ja Morant fuck you revenge game? Denny Avia triple-double, 65-1. Does Yves Missi play with no Zion? And he goes plus 470 on a double-double against Dallas missing bigs. I kind of like that. Let me see if there's anything in the comments from this one. Drew says the market really thinks Ant is playing. Let's go Yves Missi. Double-double. You can pin it right here because things are moving, and it will remain at the top of the screen no matter where you slide to. We could say this is plus 325 at Pinnacle. You're getting plus 470 at DraftKings. You can see plus 340 Caesars, MGM, Fanatics, Exchanges, Novig has it plus 374. So plus 468 is technically the price at DraftKings. This is lack of bigs on both sides of the game. So let's go with Yves Missi double-double. We have a total that's climbing. We have Anthony Davis, Lively, and Zion all out. So a lot of those rebounding opportunities are going to be gone. We see this true odds close to 4-1. You're getting 4.7-1. We're getting a 14% EV on Yves Missi. Yves Missi. There it is. Yves Missi is going to be the double-double at DraftKings. Over under 0.5 shots, as T2's shouted out, because we hit it first try because we were not shooting the shot on Bronny. Okay, thank you to everyone for tuning in. Thank you to Drew in the back. I greatly appreciate him filling in for Ian. Best wishes to Ian. I know he's going to go back and listen to it, to the show. Shout out, Ian. We love you. We hope all is going well. We hope you guys are back online soon. We'll be back on Friday, November 7th. Drew will be in studio with me. We will be reviewing 11 games for the NBA Cup. We will be looking at Cup scheduling. We'll be looking at point differential. We will be looking at a lot of different things in addition to the game markets. We'll probably go an hour and just cover as much as we can. So come back on Friday, 11 a.m. Like the show, share the show, subscribe to the channel, sign up for the free newsletter. Come sign up for the WHOP with promo code end of the show, 50% off. You guys are the best. And some words from Patrick Beverley as we say, peace out.
Y'all subscribe to my podcast while y'all asking all these questions. Don't forget to subscribe to the pod. And if you're a kid, listen to your parents. Listen to your parents.
Listen to your parents.
Subscribe to the pod. Subscribe.
Subscribe to the pod. Subscribe to the pod. Subscribe to the pod, man. Good. Those are good.